Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking cloud computing and its inherent security risks, straight through the lens of official CompTIA Security Plus certification materials. I want you to think of the cloud like digital real estate. Just like the physical world, this digital landscape has diverse neighborhoods, different types of properties, and most importantly, vastly different levels of security. We're going to break down cloud computing, its structures, and its vulnerabilities by diving straight into these core concepts. All right, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. Understanding cloud computing services, types of cloud environments, core cloud security vulnerabilities, essential cloud security solutions, and finally, hidden threats beyond the cloud. Section 1. Understanding cloud computing services. So the big idea here is that the cloud is designed to extend your network's capabilities while drastically lowering administrative costs. It is literally the difference between renting an apartment and building a house entirely from scratch. To lay our foundation, cloud computing represents on-demand services that extend a computer or network's capabilities in real time, and it's often offered on a pay-per-use basis. To put this into perspective, imagine a small business with just a handful of employees. They desperately need email, right? But buying their own physical email server, setting up a hosted domain, and hiring the IT staff to maintain the whole shebang, that's a massive, often prohibitive cost. But by connecting to a cloud service through a simple web browser, that small business gets nearly unlimited email, contacts, and calendar solutions instantly. It's incredibly efficient. Okay, let's cut through this alphabet soup of IT acronyms and use our real estate analogy. First up is SaaS, or Software as a Service. This is your fully furnished apartment. You just walk in and use it. Think Office 365, Gmail, or Zoom. Then there's IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service. This is like buying an empty lot of land. The cloud provider gives you the networking, routing, and storage, like AWS or Azure, but you have to build the house yourself. PaaS, or Platform as a Service, is like having the virtual building foundation already poured for you, which is perfect for developers creating applications in a virtual environment. And finally, SecureAS, Security as a Service. This acts as your hired neighborhood watch, integrating high-level security like data loss prevention and encryption directly into your existing setup. And usually, it's way more cost-effective than doing it yourself. Now you know technology moves at lightning speed, so new services pop up all the time. For example, Monitoring as a Service, or MAAS, which continuously deploys monitoring within the cloud. When a new service doesn't fit neatly into the models we just discussed, it simply falls into a catch-all category known as X as a Service, or Anything as a Service. Section 2. Types of cloud environments. So now that we know what services we can rent, we need to decide where this digital real estate is actually going to live. And that decision is driven entirely by an organization's budget, their required security levels, and their human resources. Let's compare the two extremes. On the public side, we have the public cloud. Think of this as a massive open apartment complex. It's offered to the general public over the internet. It's highly scalable, and it comes with very low or sometimes even zero cost. But you're sharing the building infrastructure with everyone else. On the private side, we have the private cloud. This is your highly controlled, gated mansion. It's designed for a specific organization, it sits safely behind a firewall, and it gives a security administrator absolute control over the data and infrastructure. It's definitely more secure, but as you can probably guess, it's often way beyond the financial means of a lot of organizations. But hey, what if you need a middle ground? Well, on the left, we have the hybrid cloud. This is a mix. You use that massive apartment complex for your everyday, non-sensitive tasks, but you keep the family jewels safely locked away in your private mansion. Your confidential data stays in-house. On the right, there's the community cloud. This acts a bit more like a co-op building. It's a shared mix for multiple organizations that have common computing or data storage needs, allowing them to pool their resources together efficiently. Section 3. Core Cloud Security Vulnerabilities. Okay, it is time to shatter the illusion of safety a bit. No matter what type of cloud you use, moving to the cloud introduces some really serious risks. The most fundamental threat? The loss of physical control. When your organization adopts cloud computing, you are inherently handing over the physical keys to your data. You can no longer just walk down the hall, open a server room door, and physically pull a plug if something goes wrong. And this brilliantly illustrates the myriad of cracks that can start to form in your cloud foundation once that physical control is gone. We're looking at a lack of privacy and accountability, improper authentication. We're looking at data segregation issues, like is your sensitive data really separated from a competitor's data on that shared server? Then there's the terrifying prospect of malicious insider attacks happening at the cloud provider itself. And what happens when there's an actual problem? Too often, there is a severe lack of investigative support from the provider. Even worse, attackers regularly abuse a cloud provider's massive infrastructure to launch really powerful attacks outwardly against others. Actually, there's a quote from our source text that hits the nail on the head. The author points out that cloud security concerns encompass basically everything you worry about for your local network and computers. You see, the cloud isn't some magical, inherently secure realm hovering above us. At the end of the day, the cloud is literally just someone else's computer, and you have to secure it exactly like it's your own. Section 4. Essential Cloud Security Solutions. All right, let's shift gears from the scary vulnerabilities and look at some actionable foundational security controls. How do we lock down our digital real estate? Well, it all starts at the front door: passwords. For general security, you need a minimum of 10 characters with at least one capital, one number, and one special character. But for private clouds housing confidential data, you really want a robust 15-character rule with doubles of everything to protect against theft. And you absolutely need a strong server-based policy to force your users into these good habits. Let's move on and see how this builds into an even stronger defense, because as we all know, passwords alone are never enough. Since passwords get reused or stolen all the time, we have to implement layered defenses. This means powerful multi-factor authentication, using biometric confirmation or phone apps like Duo, so even if a password is stolen, the attacker still can't get in. It means enforcing strong data access policies through group policy objects, strictly defining the who, what, and when of resource access. We must use robust encryption, relying on a solid public key infrastructure, or PKI, since so much data is accessed via web browsers. And we definitely have to standardize our programming and testing, utilizing things like input validation and a technique called fuzzing to find software flaws well before the attackers do. Now, if your organization has a mix of on-premises infrastructure and cloud provider infrastructure, you need what's called a Cloud Access Security Broker, or CASB. Think of the CASB as the ultimate neighborhood watch for your hybrid setup. It acts as this strict gatekeeper, demanding transparency and ensuring that any third-party cloud provider strictly complies with your organization's internal security policies. It basically extends your protective reach right outside your own building. Which brings us to Section 5. Hidden threats beyond the cloud. There are certain threats that are loosely connected to cloud technologies, but they are incredibly dangerous because they can easily bypass traditional administrative lockdowns. The first hidden threat here is shadow IT, specifically concerning social media and peer-to-peer, or P2P, networks. Employees will just share the most sensitive data on social media without a second thought, which can easily compromise an organization. And P2P networks, while they're great for file sharing and streaming, they often come with a really heavy price tag: malware. P2P can turn unwilling client computers into malware distributors, essentially allowing the cloud to invade your local computers without any consent. To fight this, administrators have to put a permanent padlock on unauthorized P2P access using strict allow and deny lists. But here's the really chilling threat: the dark web. The dark web operates on what's called an F2F, or friends-to-friends system. It connects trusted peers using non-standard ports and protocols, making it incredibly difficult for a security administrator to even detect. It's a safe haven for illegal activities specifically designed to resist surveillance. And here is the terrifying part for our context. Virtual machines within an administrator's own cloud can be secretly configured by malicious insiders to join the dark web. If illegal activities are traced back to your organization's cloud space, the legal consequences could be absolutely devastating. So, the crucial point is, administrators must take strict, proactive steps to detect and prevent these hidden dark web or P2P connections. This means screening employees thoroughly to prevent insider threats right from the start. It means carefully inspecting the service-level agreements with your cloud providers to ensure they are legally bound to uphold your strict security standards. And finally, it requires utilizing third-party IT auditors to constantly monitor your resources for unauthorized links. Which leaves us with this final, pretty provocative question to ponder. Is your organization's cloud silently connected to the dark web? As we've seen today, the digital real estate of the cloud offers incredible flexibility and power, but it is not inherently safe. It requires constant vigilance, layered defenses, and a refusal to just hand over the keys without oversight. I highly encourage you to deeply inspect your own digital real estate. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.